Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome back for another video. Hey, I am excited to introduce this new project that I am working on, and I fully admit it is going to be a very ambitious project, but it's simply titled, Would I Buy? I thought about it. I prefer to name it Should You Buy instead of Would I Buy, but that sounds a little bit too much like financial advice. And as I'm sure you know, this video is for entertainment purposes only, and it is not financial advice. But hey, let me talk about this project really quickly because it's ambitious and it's going to take about a year and a half to finish, but I'm excited about it, and I hope that you are too. So, would I buy? Here's what I want to do. I want to take a look at the top 1,000 non-stablecoin cryptocurrencies as of today, June 28th, 2022, when I'm making this video. And I want to do that between now and December 31st, 2023. So if you do the math, I mean, that's about a little over 500 days between now and the end of 2023. And I want to look at 1,000 cryptocurrencies. So that's about 2 videos a day. And I don't make videos on Sundays. So we'll see how this goes. But I have every intention of organizing it neatly so that you can use each video as a reference point. And of course, I'll be talking about Bitcoin and Ethereum and going all the way down the list until I get to number 1,000, at least of the non-stablecoin cryptocurrencies. And the question is, would I buy this cryptocurrency in the bear market? And you might be asking yourself, if you know about my bear market buying guide, what's the difference between this and the bear market buying guide? Well, this is simply asking the question, would I buy? The bear market buying guide goes much more in depth for the cryptocurrencies that I talk about, and you can see a link to that in the description of this video. But this is just simply asking the question, would I buy? And so, and of course, I'm going to be examining a lot more than the 25 or so cryptocurrencies that I examined in the bear market buying guide. And of course, it's going to take a lot longer to put all of this together. So there's some really important information that I want to, questions I want to ask as far as what is on my radar to determine whether or not a cryptocurrency is a currency that I would buy in the bear market. And here's some spoiler alerts. There's going to be more no answers than yes answers. We all know cryptocurrencies right now, it's the wild, wild west still, I still regard it as that. It's very early on. And here's a fun fact that I learned recently. In the early 1900s, there were like 1,000 car companies, but only 3 survived. Is that going to be the same for cryptocurrencies? I mean, not only 3 will survive, but a lot of cryptocurrencies are going to zero. And because of that, yes, there are more no answers than yes answers, and more yes answers at the top of the list than at the bottom of the list. Because the further you go down this list, the more it really is just a lot of junk. But I'm going to examine those things. And with that being said, my default answer to any cryptocurrency that I'll be reviewing is really, why not? Why not just, throw a few bucks in it? And if it goes to the moon, then fantastic. If it goes to zero, okay, you lost $5, something like that. And let me explain why in this next slide. We'll take this with a massive grain of salt. And here's why you should take this with a massive grain of salt. I saw this somewhere and I can't find where I saw it. And so you're going to need to verify this for yourself. But if you bought $1, there were 1,500 cryptocurrencies at the end of 2018. And if you bought $1 worth of every cryptocurrency in December of 2018, the total valuation of all your assets would have increased to about $1.5 million. So your $1,500 investment would have exploded into $1.5 million. You just throw darts at a dartboard, and at the peak of the cycle, when the crypto market cap peaked at $3 trillion, your initial investment of $1,500 would have turned to $1.5 million. So why not? Why not just buy a little bit of every cryptocurrency you could get your hands on? Does that mean that this is obsolete? Not necessarily, but there's some that I'm just pretty convinced there's no, just stay away. And others where I'm like, yes, buy this cryptocurrency. Now, this may be confusing. How does that work out when we saw the crypto market cap bottom out at $92 billion and then peak at $3 trillion. So it did about a 31x, not a 97.83x, what we see here. But, here's what we should be seeing, right? A $1 investment in all 1,500 cryptocurrencies in December of 2018 would yield a 31x return, not a 97x return, for a total of, let me do the math real quick, about $50,000. Right? That's logically how it should work out, right? Well, no, actually, that's not true. So here's an example. Let's say you bought $1 worth of one cryptocurrency at a $25,000 market cap. So this is like extreme micro cap. And that one cryptocurrency did a 10,000x to a $250 million market cap, which is not, that has happened before. It happened last cycle. SafeMoon, I think Shiba Inu, things like that. But then let's say you put $50 in, you bought $1 worth of 49 cryptocurrencies that at the time had a total of $2.5 billion worth of market cap, but those cryptos went to zero. Your $50 investment would be worth $10,000. So you lost $49 on all of those cryptocurrencies that lost their $2.5 billion worth of market cap. But because you bought that one and that thing did a 10,000x, Hex, Hex is controversial, but it did a 10,000x. That one cryptocurrency was more than made up for the 49 that went to zero. So your $50 investment would be worth $10,000 or 200x return. And so therefore, default answer, honestly, why not? Why not just put something into every cryptocurrency that I review? And at the same time, there's some that I would still say, stay away from this cryptocurrency. It is dying. It's going to zero. But then again, I could be wrong, but we'll see. So here are the questions that I want to ask. The big thing that I really want to get down to is the timing. And this is in itself, it's about 50% of the pie. When was this cryptocurrency created and how did it do during the time that it has been in existence? And so question one, was this cryptocurrency created before or after April 14th of 2021? Why April 14th of 2021? I have made a case that was Bitcoin's peak. I know that Bitcoin went, put in a higher price at $69,000 on November 10th of 2021. But if you look at so many different variables, so many different on-chain variables, the real psychological peak for the cycle was April 14th of 2021, the day that Coinbase IPO'd. And I thought about this. I wrestled between April 14th and May 9th, May 8th. If you remember May 8th, that was the day that Elon Musk went on SNL and Dogecoin peaked at 75 cents. And I would identify that as perhaps, really peak euphoria of the entire cycle. But I'm sticking with Bitcoin. And April 14th, and you really could, interplay those two if you want it to be May 9th, whatever. But here's my question. Was this cryptocurrency created before or after April 14th of 2021? If before, I'm going to ask other questions. If after, my answer is almost an automatic yes. So there's some examples. There's some examples because here's the deal. There were several cryptocurrencies that were created after Bitcoin peaked in December of 2017 that would have gotten you amazing returns. Solana went from 66 cents in 2020 to $250 in September of 2021. Luna, I know Luna, Luna's dead pretty much, but Luna had a very similar return, 300, 400, 500x. And these were cryptocurrencies that were created after Bitcoin peaked and saw their initial cycle, their first cycle. And I think that there's a lot of potential with cryptocurrencies that are new to the game that could potentially reach top 10. And so, yeah, my answer is almost an automatic yes. What would not qualify as an automatic yes would be like a meme coin. I'm not just going to throw random money at like Cat Girl token, I believe was created after April 14th, 2021. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about cryptocurrencies that at least show some kind of initiative to have an actual blockchain function in actual fundamentals. And one example for the next cycle would be Internet Computer. I'm going to be buying a decent amount of Internet Computer. I've had my run-ins with Internet Computer. I really don't like how they launched, but they launched on May 7th of 2021 after April 14th. And so I think we could see Internet Computer do something really good next cycle. And fundamentally, that is a solid cryptocurrency. So yeah, Internet Computer, I'll be buying a lot of that because whenever the next cycle is, whenever the next euphoria phase is, I think Internet Computer is going to do very well. Question 2, if the cryptocurrency was created before April 14th of 2021, will the next cycle be the second, third, or fourth cycle for this cryptocurrency? So Solana, Luna, well, forget about Luna, Solana, some other ones I'm blanking right now, but this upcoming cycle will be Solana's second cycle. That has a certain mix of questions that I'll need to ask. I'll get to that in a second. But for me, if it's going to be the third or fourth cycle for this cryptocurrency, there's pretty simple questions that I want to ask. And so question 3, if it's the third or fourth cycle, my question is, did this cryptocurrency put in a higher high and a higher low each progressive cycle? For example, well, I'm going to give some examples here in a second, but if it peaked in 2018, January of 2018 at a certain price, did it put in a higher price in 2021 or 2022, or did it put in a lower high in 2021 or 2022? And to me, that's a very important question. If the answer to that question, if it did put in a higher high and a higher low, then my answer is most likely yes, that I'm going to be putting something into that cryptocurrency. If the answer is no, then my answer is most likely no. There are some exceptions. XRP is an exception. It was suppressed by the SEC suit. I am willing to buy some XRP despite the fact that it did not put in a higher high this cycle in comparison to its January 2018 peak. But for the most part, my answer will be no. So here's some examples. Here's Bitcoin Cash. In 2017, I think it was 2018. No, at the end of 2017, it peaked at $4,000, a little under $4,000. It didn't get anywhere near that this cycle. And that was a legitimate question that people were asking at the time with Bitcoin Cash. Is Bitcoin Cash, what they were saying back then, people who were fanboys of Bitcoin Cash, is that this is actual Bitcoin. And so this is the one that you should be investing in, not in the one that, what we typically know of as Bitcoin. And what I see in this chart is a resounding no, it's not actual Bitcoin, because we see a much, much lower high for 2021 than what we saw at the end of 2017. Oh, actually, no, that was the beginning of 2017 that it peaked at $4,000. But still, let's say that the 2018 price here, or even what is that, the mid 2017 price, let's say that was the actual high and that was just kind of the launch price or whatever you want to call it. That's still not good enough. It's not good enough for me, because that high is still higher than Bitcoin Cash's spring of 2021 high. I want nothing to do with this. Bitcoin Cash, in my opinion, is going to die. But then you compare it to Ethereum Classic, and this is kind of a chart that I want to see. We see a decently higher high in 2021 than what we saw in 2017, 2018. And so I am much more in favor of loading up on some Ethereum Classic during this bear market, because I see it in the charts. Quite simply, I see a higher high, and so far so good with a higher low. Then I would anticipate, perhaps, no guarantees, but perhaps a higher high next time around. I think it's much more likely that this will put in a higher high than Bitcoin Cash, for example. Question 4. So this is second cycle type coins. If the upcoming cycle is going to be this crypto's second cycle, then we need to examine some other factors, which leads us to our second major category. And here are the questions that I'm going to mostly be asking about second cycle cryptocurrencies, but I'll be asking about this all for every cryptocurrency that I take a look at. So first of all, tokenomics. This is very important. And so what is the coin's tokenomics? Is it highly inflationary, excuse me for a second, or is it deflationary, or does it have a fixed supply? Those are questions that I really, really want to ask. Here's some examples. Ethereum. So in Ethereum is inflationary right now. It's not super inflationary, but it is inflationary. That was improved by EIP 1559, which launched in August of 2021. And if ETH 2.0 is launched before the next cycle, before the next Bitcoin halving, I should say, then Ethereum is going to be very attractive to me because it's going to become very much deflationary for a time at least. And so that's very appealing to me. You compare that to Dogecoin. Now, Dogecoin has an annual increase of about 5% of its supply. That increase is decreasing every year. The current supply, I believe, is somewhere around 132 billion tokens, and they're adding at a rate of 10,000 a minute, or 14.4 million a day, or 5 billion a year, which sounds a lot, but really, I mean, that's all right, not a 5%, about a 3 to 4% increase in its supply. With Dogecoin, I am generally okay with that. I mean, that's not very much appealing, but I will be buying Dogecoin throughout the bear market, FYI. You can make fun of me all you want, but I think I can make a compelling case for Dogecoin when we get there. But then there's Kadena. Now, Kadena is very much different from Dogecoin. Kadena is a very fundamentally solid project, but their annual rate of increase in the supply is 15% as of right now. That's going down as well. And over the next 100 years, it's going to be mined. So 100 years from now, Kadena is going to be a great buy if it still exists at the time. But Kadena, for me, at this point in time, is just too inflationary, to the point where it's like, if I buy Kadena, I'm not buying it anytime soon, because I'd rather buy closer to the next Bitcoin halving or even after that, because of how inflationary it is. So those are very important questions to ask. So here's the second question. How far has this cryptocurrency dropped from its peak? That really matters. And here's the sweet spot: a cryptocurrency that you're confident will put in a higher high next cycle that has also seen a huge drop. I have my eyes on Polkadot for sure with that. But here's some examples: Cardano and Maker. So here's Cardano's chart. Cardano is just like, it was a dream come true. If you bought Cardano in the previous bear market, it bottomed out at 2 cents and did a 150x. It got up to $3, and so it put in a higher high, and 150x from the bear market bottom. This is something that I would have been very excited to buy if I didn't quite have Cardano on my radar throughout the bear market. I'm not sure why. It just kind of popped onto my radar throughout this most recent bull run, which is, that's a thing. But Cardano it went down 99% from its peak to its bottom. If you believed that Cardano was a fundamentally solid cryptocurrency that was going to, or whatever, that was going to put in a higher high this next cycle, then you had an amazing opportunity to do a 150x. Are you kidding me? And so I was concerned actually that Cardano, because of staking, was maybe going to lose about 70% of its value. I'm not interested in a 70% drop from its peak, but so far up to today, it's at about an 85% drop. So I'm actually pretty intrigued by Cardano as a bear market option. But then you compare this to Maker. Now, Maker's drop from its peak is pretty significant. So far, it's about 83%. So we'll see about that. But this was a cryptocurrency that I was not interested in buying at all in the bear market, because it didn't drop all that much. It was pretty stable throughout 2018 all the way until it had this big run up to $6,000 this cycle. And so this is what I'm looking for. If I don't see a huge drop from its peak, from its cycle top, I'm not as interested in it from a 4-year perspective. Maybe you like Maker so much that you believe fundamentally it's going to exist for a long time, then fantastic. Maker's tokenomics are really good. It's not an inflationary cryptocurrency. So there is that. But as far as maximizing my returns between now and whenever we see another big run in crypto, which will come one day, I'm not guaranteeing 2024, 2025, but one day, then what I want to see is something probably like a Phantom. Phantom, I think, is going to still go down pretty hard, and maybe because they're so intense with their marketing, maybe we'll see another big run with Phantom, or maybe Phantom's going to die. I don't know. We'll see about that when I make that video. But here's some more questions. Obviously, I want to know, what are the fundamentals? Does this have a real blockchain application? That's why I'm going to stay away from something like a SafeMoon this cycle, because it's not, in my opinion, a very fundamentally solid cryptocurrency. I don't think it's going to do anything near what it did last cycle. But then that takes some nuance in that discussion, because there are other cryptocurrencies, like I said, with Dogecoin, that I'm a believer in Dogecoin, where I'm not in SafeMoon. What's the deal with that? Well, we'll get to it when we get to those cryptocurrencies. And then, will this cryptocurrency exist forever? If, most will not, but if my answer to that question is yes, then that is very much an automatic yes. I am buying this cryptocurrency in the bear market. My list for that is very short. Obviously, Bitcoin is on it. So obviously, I mean, do you even need to ask that question? I will still make a Bitcoin video, but do you even need to ask that question, whether I'm accumulating Bitcoin or not throughout this bear market? Of course I am. Now, here's an interesting question, and then I'm going to be done pretty soon. But is this a mostly finished project, or is it still taking shape? I am actually, so this is pretty funny. I'm interested in cryptocurrencies that are not quite a finished project. So Cardano, the thing that I constantly say about Cardano is that we're not going to know what Cardano is until like 2030, which actually gets me very excited for buying it in the bear market. Because, yeah, all right, people are going to buy it based on what it's going to be, not on what they think it's going to be, not on what it is. And I would label Quant very much like that, and I would definitely label Mina. I mean, Mina has all these grandiose plans, and as far as I've checked, the technology still doesn't exist for them to do what they're going to do. So will I buy Mina in the bear market based on the fact that it's not a finished product? Yes, because people buy potential. I mean, why did Tesla do such crazy returns over the last decade? People weren't buying Tesla because of who they were. They were buying it because of who they at least thought that Tesla was going to be. And the story still has not been written on that. But if Tesla can be what they want to be, then Tesla will provide amazing returns. And so it's the same deal with Cardano, with Quant, with Mina, with several other cryptocurrencies. So that's an important question to be asking. And then, of course, this analysis will evolve the more I think about it. So I am very much curious to hear your suggestions. Where should we go with this? And I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment section, because I want to provide value, and I want to really work hard on this. And I know that with a community, a marketplace of ideas, that we could really see some great things happen. So this video is going to be pinned on my profile. I'm going to reference it a lot, so feel free to come back and check as time goes by. I'm going to recommend it in every single video that I talk about. But hey, I am looking forward to this, and I hope you are too. Would love to hear your thoughts and opinions in the comment section. Subscribe if you haven't already, and smash up that like button as always. All right, have a great one.